just having a really lovely Women's Day vibe with women supporting each other and so on. So, what actually happened was we spoke about a lot of different topics, and the range was incredible. Because when women come together to support women, it is amazing. There is nothing better than that. So, the topic I spoke about was imposter syndrome, which is why we are here today. And the reason why I thought that it is important to bring this to YouTube as well is because there were a number of women who were at the top of their game at that particular event. And still, after the event, there was a lot of people who came up to me and who said that I resonated with the speech. And though it feels really good as a speaker to speak about something that is relatable, but such may it matters a lot jab you realize that this is a topic that is not just for a certain audience, a certain level of people, or just for people who have a certain ambition. It is for everyone because imposter syndrome is something that just sort of creeps up on us without us even knowing. So I would say grab your chai or coffee because I know it's 10 o'clock, but it's raining where I am here from. And I mean, whether the weather is good, bad, or ugly, we love our chai or coffee. So let's start with a little bit of a game, and I will mention a few quotes. So if you can guess, mention it in the live chat that who actually said these words. So ready? So quote number one. I was so nervous to walk into the offices and introduce myself, and I kept second guessing how I was gonna work with such highly acclaimed stars. So, any guesses? So, this was said by our very own Desi girl, and yes, I mean Priyanka Chopra. And she said this when she was starting her Hollywood journey, and she was worried about how she was quite well known in Bollywood at that time, but she felt that she had to make her mark in Hollywood. And we obviously know what an awe inspiring work, and still she's continuing to do such amazing things. So let's try another one. Quote number two. I was afraid of letting my country down. My wrist injury meant that my career was over, and I wasn't sure who I would be without my racket. So, yes, this was said by our very own Hyderabadi sports star, Sania Mirza, back in 2008. So, when she suffered her wrist injury, she did feel that, maybe I won't be able to play again, and that made her feel inadequate. That would she be even someone without her game? And that's something that a lot of us can resonate with, right? Because we feel that hamara kaam or hamara academic success or even sometimes the relationships we have matter more than we give ourselves credit for. Like sometimes it does feel to me personally that my value or my worth is more connected to what I've studied or what I've earned, and that's not true at all. But that is one thing we tend to measure our worth with. So this is your cue to stop doing that. So let's try just one more quote, and quote number three. No matter what we've done, there comes a point where you think, how did I get here? And when are they going to discover that I am, in fact, a fraud and take everything away from me? So, any guesses? This was said by two-time Oscar winner Hollywood legend Tom Hanks. So, can you imagine when such highly acclaimed stars have this feeling of doubt and we share this feeling with them? Isn't it amazing to think that all of us somewhere scattered around the earth and we still share this feeling of inferiority, insecurity? So let's try another one. Last one. So a literal genius and literally whose name is used as a synonym for intelligence. He once wrote, I feel compelled to think of myself as an involuntary swindler. उनको लगता था that he used to make people swindle them, and basically he used to feel that मैं लोगों को बेवकूफ बनाता हूँ, and this was none other than Albert Einstein. So I know that it's really we hold celebrities, sports stars, and a lot of famous people at a very high level, and we feel that we could never be them, and उनके पास जो है हमारे पास नहीं है. But the reality is that from Meryl Streep to Michelle Obama, from Shah Rukh Khan to Vidya Balan, everyone feels this at some point in their life, and that's what we have to learn as well. It's not that just because they feel it so it's okay, or now we can validate ourselves. Why I'm saying this is that to show you that you can always get where they are and they can always become you. So all we are doing is creating a level of equality in the real world. So this monster who eats away at our self-esteem, who tries to put us down, has a name. And yes, like today's session, the monster's name is Imposter Syndrome. Now, let's talk about the different types. So, the first type that comes to mind is how we all feel that when we receive compliments, we are not at the right wavelength to receive it. Like, how many of us actually smile and say thank you? Very few of us. Because most of us are just like, nah, I mean, झूठ बोल रहा है, ऐसा ही कह दिया. They're just being kind, they're not being real. But that's not true. In fact, how do you feel when you're giving somebody a compliment, right? Do you take it like they're right, I do look good, or I did put in that much of effort in my appearance, or my work, or in how I present myself? Or do you just brush it off that no, I gave a compliment, so maybe they're just returning, or maybe, they didn't really mean it, or there's like a different ulterior motive behind them saying that? So, this refusal to accept your own compliment is also a part of imposter syndrome. So, it happens basically because we feel we are not fit to be at the position we have achieved. We feel we don't deserve the praise we receive. We feel as if we are imposters, frauds, or बस अभी हमें कोई expose करने वाला है. Because according to the International Journal of Behavioral Science, 70% of people experience imposter syndrome at some point in their lives. Can you imagine 70%? We are literally in the majority. But problem here है that instead of living life in a take charge mode, it feels tiring. It feels like you're always in survival mode. Like, we shrink ourselves to fit in. We feel like it's much better to wear our dull colors like beige or white, just so that we are all equal with everyone else. And there's nothing wrong with doing or sort of blending into your surroundings. At times it's very important. All the solo travelers here would relate to that. But there are times when you just dim your glow because you feel that aisa karne se, I'm just making it more comfortable for that person or whoever. But that's not the right way to think. What matters is you making sure that you're giving yourself that importance, that respect, because your happiness is utmost. You see what I mean? So, whenever the next time you feel that nahi sab log black pehenenge, I can't wear pink, or there are times when we feel like I saw a reel the other day, and there was a girl and she says that ekdam bhai jaisa feeling aaya, like full aura plus 1000, because it was raining and everybody had gone under the various shutters of shops, whereas she had an umbrella, so she could aram se walk on the road, and it was like the entire road, got khali because of her. Although that's not what happened, but you get the point, right? And the comment section was next level because a lot of people admitted that mujhse to ye nahi hota bhai, because I cannot take that level of attention to walk. I would just close my umbrella and stand under the shutters like the under the shops. Can you imagine these were the real comments people actually made? And why? Simply because they were too afraid of, um, feeling like, oh my god, I shouldn't stand out or something like that. In fact, I remember that there was a trip I had gone with my like college friends and everything, and there was a girl, and what she did was she wore a bright red gown, so it was amazing. She looked incredible, but she had the confidence to carry it. In fact, so much so that when we had gone to see like a famous landmark, there were actually international tourists who were stopping and taking her photos. And isn't that amazing? Because not always will you get the rewards or the appreciation or the validation like she did. Like she just, wore a beautiful dress and instantly there was validation for standing out. It won't happen always, but in the long run, you letting yourself glow, letting yourself breathe, letting yourself shine, letting yourself live the way you want to will yield results, the same results that somewhere deep down you feel that ये मुझसे नहीं हो रहा है. क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? Because you yourself are blocking your power, you yourself are blocking your shine. So sweetheart, stop doing that. And also, I'd like to ask you all a question, and please answer honestly in the chat or the comments. Like, how many of us are actually good at taking compliments, right? Because the next time, I just want you to make sure that just think that okay, agar if this compliment I would give my best friend or a relative, how would they react? Would I want them to just brush it off and be unkind to them? Would I? And most often the answer will be no. I would want them to know how good they look, what sort of an effort they have put, and how well it's working for them. So just keep this mantra in your head, and your exercises that the next time somebody compliments you, I want you to just smile and say thank you genuinely from your heart. Okay? Like, and now when we think of the five types of imposters, so the next one that we come to is the perfectionist. So इनको लगता है that हर चीज 100% flawless नहीं हो तो it's a failure. Like 99% is not enough. Dettol's version of 99.9% germs also is not enough. You set impossible goals and then beat yourself up. And this is where I lie as well. Because I remember, like, since I like writing as a hobby and sometimes as a professional thing as well, so a lot of my gifts that I used to get from friends and relatives were really amazing, beautiful diaries. And then always they used to be like, oh, now you can write and you can use this for your writing and this and that. But to be honest, I still have a chest full of those diaries and I've not yet touched them, simply because a lot of people would resonate with this feeling that I feel ki, I just cannot touch those pages unless I write my masterpiece in it. Like it should be a Pulitzer Prize winning, worthy content that I should put in that. In fact, the only time I actually did write a page was when I thought that I spent a lot of days thinking, and finally I just jotted down in the perfect handwriting, the perfect words with the sentences, and never again. Because that level of stress you cannot take. In fact, you should not even put on yourself. And I know it's way easier to just mention it ki aisa mat karo rather than actually applying that formula in your life. But consider this your sign that I have to move out of this perfectionism, because I'm here to, and let's just get help each other to just keep moving. And because consistency, discipline, actually taking the plunge is more important. So the next type number 2, which is the superwoman or superman. क्योंकि आपको लगता है कि बाकी लोग आपसे बेहतर है तो उसको कवर अप करने के लिए यू ओवरवर्क, यू हसल 24/7, बर्न आउट हो रहा है, बट यू कांट स्टॉप बिकॉज यू हैव टू प्रूव योर वर्थ. And how many of us are like that, right? Because we feel कि What will people say if I fail? Like, imagine if the teachers consider I'm a topper. So, nahi, I have to, even if I have a fever, I will have to try my best. I will have to, give my 200% even for the internal, even for homework. And that's not the right way to think, because that is just putting so much of pressure on yourself. And what matters is not always a problem like that. Like, issue here है that we feel that there is a bar and we have to just top it off. But sometimes you just have to give yourself a little leeway and say it's okay. Maybe I will put all my effort into the exam rather than the internal. Maybe this match is not so important than the actual major match happening a few months later. So what is important here is to bring a little more logic into your emotions and actively think about where should I spend my energy and where should I hold back. So next, moving on to the third type, which is the natural genius. Like, अगर आपको लगता है कि कोई नई चीज में टाइम लग रहा है या स्ट्रगल करना पड़ेगा, तो you feel like a failure and you feel that, oh, I wish, this isn't easy because I'm not smart. But that's a totally wrong way of thinking. In fact, all the high achiever children would definitely relate to this because at when you were young, because of a lot of factors, you might have been good at stuff. And now, when you think of it, there is a fear that has set in that if I'm not good at something, it means that I cannot give myself time to try to struggle to make mistakes. And that is another wrong attitude. Because, for example, if tomorrow I think that, oh, I should try my hand at pottery, so I will not be able to make a vase, let alone any clump of pottery in my hands would not look worthy of being even called pottery, right? And that is something I have to consider while going in to the activity itself right before I do it. And in fact, if you feel that you have to keep reminding yourself, do that. If you feel like you can get your social system, your friends, your family to support you during this time, let's do that. Because our imposter syndrome inhibits us from experiencing so many new activities just because we feel that, look, kya kahenge if I wasn't just extremely good at this the first time I tried it. And if nothing else, then try and write your fear or your inhibition on a piece of paper, or just, even if you're like me, an environmental girly, and you would much rather put it on your laptop or phone, do that. But writing it out really helps you get clarity and bring reason. Because that reasoning, that logic will save you from what your emotions are holding you back from. So next comes the soloist. So you feel ki help mangna is a major weakness. Like I have to do it all by myself, varna it doesn't count. And that is so not true. Because life is not dependent on collaboration, but yes, it can definitely get enhanced if you find the right team, which becomes your dream team. Now, of course, that is itself a bit unrealistic that every team you seek will become your dream team. But the point is that sharing your knowledge with others, understanding their experiences, becoming more empathetic, and listening just increases your overall life expectancy and the value of your own knowledge and experiences. Because you're not just, throwing a ball and it comes back to hit you. When you play with somebody else, there is a lot of shared experiences, and these shared experiences really propel you forward. So, like, we all know the stories about how, if you have bad friends and you fall into bad company, what happens. But the reverse is also true, that always try and be in a social circle or friend circle where everybody is more intelligent than you, or at least more adventurous or more social, or has, a lot of skills. Because complacency is just, being comfortable, and that comfort can really hinder your growth. It restricts you from trying new things, from going forward in your life, from just discovering your love to so many things. So now the next type, which is the expert. Now, these people feel like they have to know 150% of the information before they even speak up or apply for a job. Like you're always taking one more course, one more certification, wanting to feel ready. Now, I've been there, and there was a time when I used to feel that, the more information I collect, the more certificates I collect, that'll be better for me, that will make me better at my work. But what I've realized is that unless you apply that knowledge, unless experiment or you just take it, do it yourself, तब तक कुछ नहीं समझ में आएगा. Because I'll tell you a relatable example. Like maths was never my strong suit. So there came a time when, I used to sort of deceive myself and be like, I know maths exam ke pehle ऐसे एक book खोल लो. And I'm just reading through the questions and the problems and being like, I know how to do this, I know how to do that, and then when the exam paper was in front of me, so I remember that I was like, yeah, I remember this question and I remember that question and I remember the question. I was so happy. Oh my god, I remember the question. Matlab, easy peasy Chinese. But the shock came when you're solving the paper and you realize that yes, you know the problem, but no, you do not know how to solve it simply because you did not actually solve it, nor did you practice the solving. So, this in the similar vein, doing or just reading or just seeing the theories of some knowledge or anything is not going to help you in any which way, even if it is a theoretical subject. The point is to actively employ those skills somewhere. Like, even if it is as simple as that today I learned some sort of art theory and I apply it. Now, it doesn't have to mean that I make a painting, it can mean that I explain it to somebody else, or I make a small reel about it, or just apply it in a very creative way anywhere else. So, my point is simply that do not wait for being ready. Make mistakes. Allow yourself to make mistakes. And let me know in the comments which one are you. Because you're not exclusively 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You might be a mix of all, and that is fine. We are here to help you no matter what the issue is, because no issue is non fixable unless you decided so. So, when I think of a personal story related to imposter syndrome, so I'll tell you that school mein I was known as the poet of my school. So this was before ChatGPT and AI, okay? So कोई भी creative introduction या speech होती थी, I would write it, and I used to feel really proud of myself. In fact, those times, whatever I used to do, and like in my school, I would say I was one of the first people to get into international dramas like Venezuelan or K dramas or even C dramas at that time, even anime. And so I used to feel like, oh, I'm so special, like we all do. And whether it was English literature competitions or those Olympiads, teachers wouldn't even ask me, they would just put my name. So when I went to college, I chose BA. So I was like, finally, I have kicked the maths and science out of my life. And ab yahan, I will be like, these are my classes. Now I'm going to be the topper. And imagine my shock, because the first day I met all my BA classmates, and these were women and girls who were absolutely exceptional in every which way, whether it was the confidence with which they carried themselves. There, a lot of them had their own companies, websites, poetry, stories published. And yeah, it was super amazing. But yes, it was a jolt, a literal bolt from the blue to me. And to me, it felt like each one of them was already established, and maybe they were, but my self confidence, which in school time was really low, went a little high before joining college, now fell right below sea level, you know, because I just felt like, oh my god, the thing that made me unique was not there anymore. Like, even though these were the subjects I choose, but now I'm just one of the class. There's nothing that makes me feel special. And then there was an opportunity to be the college magazine ka editor. So for that position they were taking evaluations and interviews, etc. And I didn't even apply because I felt like in log ke samne to I don't even stand, and how could I? So instead of, it's a very cowardly thing to do, but I was like, I will safeguard myself. If I don't apply, I won't get rejected, and if I don't get rejected, so like I haven't lost anything, and that sort of thinking I was. And so after the interviews, my lecturer, Shrestha ma'am, and she called me and she said something like, "Why didn't you apply and anything?" So I just sort of explained my predicament to her, and her response was out of the world because she simply asked me, like, "Who are you to self reject yourself?" And that was just out of the world sort of a thing to me because I was exactly doing that, right? All I did was just self reject. Like, there was no need to even consider or assume the position of the teacher. Like, my role was just to apply, utna hi. So, why am I giving myself that extra, darja and then taking it away as well? And that's what happens when you bring logic into these emotionally heavy things, right? You realize how stupid you are acting, or how, for a lack of a better word, immature or sometimes even cowardly you are. And it's not a big deal because we all go through different phases. What is important is to acknowledge that. And so, what I mean to say is, for example, if there is a case, and imagine the lawyer says that no, I'm not going to try this in court because I know I'm not going to win with that work. That means the lawyer is acting like a judge. So, judge job chhod de, right? It doesn't work that way. So, the next time you self reject yourself, I want you to remember that your job is simply to apply. Your job is simply to put yourself out there. No matter what the result is, that is just not your prerogative. Do not worry about that. Now, if you are religious, hand it over to your God. If you are not, then just hand it over to any higher power, the universe, or anything you believe in. Because it doesn't matter. They will take care of it. Whether you get it, whether you don't get it, is another story altogether. And so after that, I obviously thought that, okay, what are the next steps I can do to fix this? So now the next step was to create a chart. Now this is known as the golden circle chart, and what it does is basically you have to now if you're an artist, so you can draw this, but I'm more of a writer, so all I did was write it. And anything that you've been proud of in your life that you've accomplished, anything that you thought that mujhse nahi ho payega goes into the chart when you have accomplished it. So, for example, for me, it was the entrance exams or other things where I thought that nahi, I cannot go up on stage, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. But wherever, whenever an opportunity presented itself, and I actively, gave a Mountain Dew wala ad feel like dar ke aage jeet hai, that went into the chart. And this chart is not magic, it doesn't automatically do anything for you, but what it does is whenever there is a future opportunity, the next time that you feel you are putting yourself down, that नहीं, how can I do this? या मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा. Just look at the chart. Just look at it. Read what's on it, or as just observe its beauty, however you've made it, and it will remind you that if I got through all that, then I can do anything. And that is just proof of conflict. That is just proof of what you've accomplished. And basically, it's like the evidence file. Now, if you were a murderer, it would prove that, okay, this is the deeds I've done. But here, all it does is prove that no, I'm not a failure, I'm not an idiot, I'm not a coward. I can do anything I set my mind to. And so, this, if you would like to try, so please do try. It's known as the golden circle in neuro linguistic programming. Try it out, you know, because it's just a way of telling your heart ki all is well in classic Three Idiots fashion. But it's also a way of showing proof to your brain that all will be well. Because the present is yours to just take charge. Do not worry about the future, just forget about the past. Do not let all these three time zones hold you back. So if you're struggling and if this monster is affecting your career, your peace, your relationship, then this is exactly what we work at Creativo. Come to us because you don't have to navigate this alone. So I want to end today's talk with a small exercise. एक ऐसी चीज that you can use whenever these feelings of overwhelm stop you from reaching your potential. So wherever you are, just sit in a comfortable position and close your eyes just for some time. So take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in your mind, concentrate and repeat just one affirmation. Anything that is meaningful to you right now. While you're inhaling for 2 counts and exhale for 2 counts. It can be I am worthy, I am capable, I belong in the rooms I walk into, I am intelligent, I am pretty. Inhale for 2 counts and exhale for 2 counts. This affirmation should just be repeating in your mind like a mantra, and you can change it depending on the situation that you're in or just anything that grants you your power. Now, I want you all to visualize your ambition, your moment in the spotlight. Imagine yourself winning that trophy, getting that promotion, standing on that stage, feeling loved, feeling appreciated, feeling accepted, and deserving all of it. Inhale for 2 counts and exhale for 2 counts. Hold that image, just think about what got you there, how you're feeling when you're right there, looking into the audience, being that shine, that queen in the spotlight. Inhale for 2 counts and exhale for 2 counts. Slowly open your eyes, and I hope that helped. So I just want to leave you all with this one final thought today. Aim for the moon because even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. You are not an imposter. You are exactly where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be, who you're supposed to be. Take care and good night.